retiring early with $1 million look like? This user is talking about 4 million, but assuming you have $1 million in savings, the market usually grows at like 6 to 7% each year. And to live this life, you need everything invested in stock. So that is very risky. If there is like a crash, for example, you're kind of screwed because the money that you withdraw will be a larger portion of your savings. But assuming a 4% withdrawal rate, you have an income of $40,000 a year. That's also like not a number just pulled out of my ass, by the way. This number is from the Trinity study, and it's like a pretty conservative estimate considering like market is 6 to 7% a year, and it's been actually increasing like 10% the last few years. But like I do think the last few years have been crazy and they're an exception. Now let's break down what the spending might look like for a single individual, the caveat being like no kids, no house. Let's start with rent at like $2,000 a month. You could probably live anywhere in the country, but you would need a roommate. And a year's worth of rent would already take up half of your retirement income. Usually it's recommended to spend 33% of your income on rent. You could also get this number down by foregoing living in cities like New York. Like, it's very hard to find a place under 2K in New York, but it's definitely doable for like Florida. The other thing is you will not be eating out. Or I guess like you can sometimes, but like not for every meal. For most meals, you will be cooking. For me, I usually spent like $200 to $400, but this was like also paired a lot with eating out and eating at my workplace. You also need healthcare. Well, I mean, you might want healthcare. I think if you're younger, you can kind of swing it, but that will also be a couple $100s a month. Also, adding a gym membership because that does more for your health than any health insurance plan. After budgeting for these necessities, you've kind of exhausted most of your budget. And like, depending on if you have a car, for the remaining few $100s, I would also allocate some amount for like gas. Also, I'm kind of envisioning that at this point, you've accumulated enough physical things, so you're not really like spending it on merch, such as clothes and items. At 2K per month rent with health insurance, you would have to save very aggressively in order to go on like, I don't know, international trips that cost a few $1,000s. But I'd wager if you really want to pursue this kind of frugal lifestyle, you should not be living somewhere where rent is 2K per month. Like, I believe you can get this number down to 1,000 even. But I don't know, I find location very important, and like probably because like I'm in my 20s, there's more appeal to living in the city. But yeah, there are some cuts that you could make in order to have a higher fun/travel budget. I guess like maybe if you're traveling a lot, it doesn't really matter if where you live is kind of like the middle of nowhere. Plus, like you might not need full coverage health insurance if you're in your 20s, but you didn't hear that from me. Like I kind of did a no spend challenge last year, so I posted a lot of those videos and I was consistently spending like 3K a month. So it's doable, but you need to be frugal. And a lot of people would rather like, work and then get to splurge. So that's fair. If you're wondering what my post-retirement life looks like, I'm pretty much just doing nothing all day. I aspire to live an ascetic monk-like lifestyle. But in reality, I just play lots of Pokemon TCG Pocket. And like, I'm grateful that I don't have a job every day because when I did have a job, I was like, I could be doing nothing right now, but instead, I'm laboring. This shit is ass. Something is missing up here.